Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Leaksy is back in business right at the start of the new CDL season, revealing which teams they've practiced against over the last few days in OpTic's practice, and exactly how those scrims have gone. Prade reveals that especially one of the teams they absolutely giga-slammed to such an extent they didn't even finish the scrim sets. Could have been Boston, could have been other potential teams as well, and our OpTic bouncing back quite nicely from the late start they had to practice when the game launched. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, of course, we've got to mention, okay, in a hotel today, we make do. It's 2 days now till the CDL starts. We still don't know where it's being streamed. I'm going to mention it every day until we do eventually find out. At some point, I presume we will know. And as Jake Hale says, you know, what if, in order to cut costs, we know that budget has been a bit of a concern, we just don't stream the games anymore, and maybe we don't even allow the pros to stream their POV. Look, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned this because I don't want to give the CDL any ideas, but I thought it was pretty funny from Jake Hale. You know, maybe we just stream them off stream and then, you know, play them off stream and then tweet the results. That'd be a good money-saving venture. Probably the sponsors would like it so much, but I guess I'll have to stay tuned for that one. This is also a cool thing for Crim. I know a lot of you guys are interested in exactly how Crim's getting on with his next adventure in the real-life racing world, and as he says, he's basically got his approval now to actually race. So he has to do like a safety evaluation race to ensure that he's actually good enough to do it. And he's got his approval basically to drive in the new seasons. That's exciting stuff. And yeah, these are the cars that he's going to be racing in. One of the big stories of yesterday though was Minnesota Rokkr officially announcing their agreement with G2 Esports. Now, you know, look, to be honest, I thought that the CDL would say something before this was confirmed. It's kind of funny how they've spent ages confirming this and they've still done it ahead of the CDL saying where we're actually going to be watching the matches this season. But still, as Rokkr say, new Rokkr, who this, we've known for some time that the ownership group over at Rokkr, effectively like version 1 and stuff like that, needed to partner with somebody to make it work. Look, we know full well in esports right now, many of these teams don't make a lot of money. Making financial sense out of this stuff is a big challenge, and Rokkr announced a while ago they're looking for strategic partners to take that to the next step. So they've partnered officially with G2 Esports, and of course that was the announcement, which is really cool, I've got to say, for the Call of Duty Esports world, because G2 were around, they were a team, even Methods was on their team. You guys might remember during the start of the Black Ops 4 season, I think they qualified for the Pro League, and then that was pretty much it for G2's tenure at the time. But now to have them back, because you know, G2 are a serious organization. They don't mess around. When they create a team, they're trying to make a team that's going to win, or at least be very competitive. So they're now effectively taking over control of the Rokkr brand. Now, the Rokkr brand isn't going to massively change. It's still going to be the Minnesota Rokkr for the new season. But as we full well know, it's very plausible that the CDL, whatever comes next, G2 might be in position to do quite well out of that, right? So I think this is actually really good for, well, for Call of Duty Esports, the fact that G2 are actually interested, because, you know, as it stands, it's kind of difficult to imagine these teams make a lot of sense financially, but as we'll see in a second, there might be a good reason why G2 might have done this, but also, I don't think they're going to sit here and accept lackluster performances from the team and from the franchise for particularly long. So we might potentially see changes be made here, because as it's confirmed here by version 1, a strategic partnership with G2 Esports in which V1 ownership will become G2 shareholders, and G2 will receive operating rights in the Minnesota Rokkr Call of Duty League team. So effectively G2 are now running the show, but it's still called Minnesota Rokkr. The version 1 brand will be basically sunsetted, I guess, or whatever is the technical term they sometimes like to use, or at least they say for the time being, the version 1 brand will no longer be fielding the competitive teams or anything. So, you know, likely that brand is going to, well, we'll see what happens in the future. Of course, Midnight was involved there for quite some time, and obviously, well, maybe it's sad in some ways. I think Rokkr have done a great job, Minnesota, in building that local community feel better than many of the other teams have over the last several years, but even the way that they've achieved that, it doesn't mean it's enough to actually make it sustainable within the CDL, and I think it's very plausible that going forward, everything is very different, right? And this is what Jacob Wolf says on exactly why this might be interesting as a possibility for the teams, is that, you know, given that V1 is kind of no longer going to exist, it might make sense for G2 in the sense that if there's what happened in the Overwatch League, so in the Overwatch League over the last 12 months or so, they basically said, all right, guys, take $6 million and go away. Like, you know, I know you paid 20 mil to get in. The Overwatch League, I think it was 20 mil. Take 6 million back and we'll call it a day over here. And then don't sue us, please, for false promises, etc. Now, Jacob Wolf predicts that something similar might occur in 2024 with the Call of Duty League, where they say, all right, guys, let's let's do another form of esports, which really they should have maybe done all along, or we used to do back in the day. So maybe that's part of G2's thinking here is, all right, we'll invest in version 1, or have this strategic partnership with them, run their Call of Duty operations, cash out in 2024, and then, hopefully they'll keep around for whatever comes next in Call of Duty at that point. And Jake Kell says, I'd wager you're correct. So from what they're potentially hearing, this seems like a realistic possibility. And as Accuracy says, looking forward to representing G2 this season, want to make the G2 army proud. So it's kind of weird because it's still going to be MettalZ to Rokkr. It's not going to be G2 Esports, but it's kind of going to be one of the same. So it's very interesting. It's cool to have them back in the game, but also I think the expectations have got to be pretty high when you're representing G2. Now, last night, the OpTic guys did their first breakdown episode of the season. Thought it was really cool that CDL Pal got the gig here to run socials for these guys going forward. Does a killer job in everything that he's taken his hand to, really. And I'm sure they'll absolutely kill this as well. So looking forward to seeing lots of this stuff. And of course, because Pal does a great job on social media, we got loads of the clips in the timeline, which is definitely what we're going to dive into right about now. So they talked about a lot of things. They had Prid on the show. Then they brought, of course, Shotzzy on the show. And when that happens, you know that something, exciting is going to happen. So they go through various things. We'll talk about the power rankings they came up with later on today, because that was a big talking point as well. But also Prid and Shotzzy were discussing how they work as a duo. I think this has been one of the key questions with OpTic Texas going into the season. How is that pairing going to work? How are they going to work on the map? Who's going to get the hill time? Who's going to make the space for the other one? Because they're both players that like to, take routes and get behind people and do stuff like that. Shotzzy does that a bit more so. Prid's a little bit more fundamental in some of his play, but he's very, very good at getting kills. I think that Prid is very good at is just what Scump was good at, to be fair, back in the day. Knowing when to play fast, knowing when to play slow, knowing when to pre-aim, and just really good at dropping a 1.2, basically. Shotzzy has a different playstyle. How does that work? It was a question, and Prid says that as it stands, it's looking really good. And I'm not surprised. I mean, when you've got players as good as Prid and Shotzzy, they have to be able to make it work. There really are no excuses, and I think they will be able to. The question is, how quickly would they figure out the plan? Pred says they're in a good position now. I'll also show a clip from Shotzzy as well, where he mentions, on in-game leading the team and stuff like this. Now, I guess with Kenny there, it's not such a massive requirement. So, he kind of talks about it a little bit before, because Shotzzy's had to kind of do a bit of leadership stuff over the last couple of seasons on occasion, but now with Kenny, and that's probably less of a priority for him. And then, of course, we've got to talk about the big discussion, really, which is on the scrims that they've played over the last few days. So I'll show all these clips together here, but they were discussing with Pred who they'd practiced against over the last few days, and Pred said straight up that someone they played, they didn't even get to the end of the scrim because it was just so bad. Now, we also know that the other day, they also didn't get to the end of the scrim, but that was supposedly because the other team was breaking GAs, and therefore basically snaking, and therefore OpTic kind of chalked it off. It might have been Miami, might have been Surge, we don't really know. There was some speculation at the time. But this seemingly was another incident where the scrim didn't finish, presumably because OpTic slammed them so hard that they didn't even want to finish out the scrim. So who was that team? Apparently it was a CDL team, but we don't exactly know who. Now, Shotzzy then comes in, Leaksy then comes in, and says, oh yeah, we scrimmed Boston. And then the guys laugh about it, which kind of made me think, well, are they talking about, is that what Pred was just mentioning? But apparently, as they then go on to discuss further, they realise, all right, it might not have been Boston, but it was another team, as Scum points out.
I wouldn't really say myself as a leader. I'm more of
Probably top three.
Well, I'm just a product of my environment, bro. If we're all always trying to achieve something, I'll always buy in and just do whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the one to
really weak. He's going playing for
if no one's wanting to perform, I'll never be on anyone's ass, even though I should be.
I have a choke, bro.
I'm just really bad with confronting people. I've always been like that.
The vibes are good. When it comes to me and Ant, I feel like the way we play actually benefits us because, like I said, Ant is more of that finesse, selfless. He will fly in. He'll make the team waste an extra 10 bullets just trying to kill him because he's just finessing the shit out of him. And for me, it benefits me because he's buying me time to get my guarantees, and I get my guarantee. I don't know, it just works out. It works out really well, and I know that he's always going to take that route. If we get 3 dead or something, I know that he's already probably out getting us that next hill. So for me, having him puts a lot of pressure off me to just focus honestly on more what I'm good at. So the duo for me and him, it obviously works really well. So
So talk to us a little bit about how scrims have been going, the vibe in the practice room, just whatever
comes off your mind about how scrims are so far?
Well, honestly, like obviously that day when we streamed, I literally landed from London that day. We played Carolina like that night. I literally just got off the plane and landed and we played. So it was just hilarious. I didn't even know what the hills were and stuff. But from that day till now, like today we scrimmed. I'm not gonna say who we scrimmed, but let's just say we didn't end up finishing the scrim because
they were slamming. I walked in.
They were getting smoked.
I know. I know who they were scrimming.
I do as well.
But yeah, the teams have been looking really well. We scrimmed Boston, and who else did we play?
Yeah. Earlier, he just said that y'all was like, "Oh, we slamming a team."
And he said he wasn't gonna tell.
It's all good, man.
Oh hell!
Who'd you play? Who'd you play?
I didn't know.
Oh hell!
Wait, who'd you play?
We played LAG, or did we play LAG?
Did we?
I mean that's
No, we didn't play them. Oh no, we did. No, we didn't. We didn't.
Who did we play the first scrim?
I actually don't know. I actually don't remember.
Holy
no, we did play them. We did play them.
Oh, we did?
today.
We played LAG in Boston. Yeah.
No, I saw y'all playing someone else.
See, wait, that's what confused me because I said LAG.
Yeah, no.
And then you
When
said
I
no.
walked in, I saw someone else.
No, we played someone else. We played someone else.
Yeah.
Who
Okay,
we
so
play?
you only leaked one because you're tweaking because I
did
saw
you guys
that.
slam
Do you
both
know
teams?
what the rosters are?
Nah, dude.
'Cause-
That shit confuses the f out of me. All I know is
Nah,
that.
you guys played these guys.
Wait, no. Who did we even play?
Yeah, we
Second from the
did.
bottom.
Yeah, we did. That was the first set.
Let
Yeah.
me see.
Huh?
First
They
set.
played these guys. Second from bottom.
We
Let me see,
smoked
can I
the
see?
second set.
Oh, you were slamming them?
The second set. No, the second set. We
Oh, yeah.
Can you see that?
So you just gotta love this Lixie guy. You can't possibly keep him down. There's always going to be occasions like this. And I just think it's funny how they were trying to not say who they'd practiced against to not give any information away. And then Shotzzy just comes straight through and reveals everything. You know, they talked about Boston. Obviously, you know, I think they scrimmed Thieves a fair little bit as well. And then they also talked about LA Gorillas and potentially the other team that they played that they might have been doing, you know, the slamming to. It's maybe not a massive surprise that OpTic given them a couple of weeks actually playing with the team, because let's not forget, Scump thought he might have to sub in for Pred when Pred had the visa thing going on. He wasn't in the States as soon as they would have liked him to be. So FaZe and other teams, I mean, Carolina and Miami started scrims literally day one of the game about 3 hours in. So there was a bit of, you know, time lag really between OpTic and getting ready to go. But it's not a surprise that given a couple of weeks, they should be in the mix again. The question is, who do they absolutely body? Because Boston have been one of these kind of interesting teams where I wouldn't expect them to be that good at the start of the game compared to the real top dogs, but I think over time they can be a serious contender if they stick it out and, you know, Slasher and Priestahh can effectively mold Snoopy and Capsidal into the players they want them to be. Have they been doing okay, Boston in scrims? I think so. The rumor is that Karma said that they'd also scrimmed Vegas, right? So I think they'd scrimmed Boston and Vegas. And when Scump brought up the a thing and he says second from bottom, that's the team we're talking about. I don't exactly know what he was, you know, pulling up there to look at, but you know, could Vegas have theoretically been second bottom on that? Maybe. So I think the rumor is that it was possibly Vegas that were having a particularly hard time against OpTic on this one rather than Boston. But honestly, who really knows at this point? And it doesn't really matter until the matches begin anyway. This is always the thing, and every year, right, at some point, OpTic are looking really good in scrims. It's a consistent trend. Whether that can be translated into matches is the question, but I think it's honestly good for OpTic. I've said this before, and a lot of you guys have echoed the same opinion that, you know, OpTic not just smoking everyone online in practice is probably a good thing, because in previous seasons, you get so good online, you expect to be good on LAN, the fans are gassing you up, it's not quite the same thing. If you're not the best online team, especially not the best team in scrims, it's probably more beneficial than it is harmful. So very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Pretty funny from OpTic as well. They're doing another game week kind of like game chat episode. These are always good fun. And if Lixie was on form on the breakdown on the guest appearance, he's almost certainly going to be on form during a show like this, as he typically is. Thought it was pretty funny as well that Dashy's got the hoodie on. He's on like his, he's got like Emperor Palpatine vibes or something going on here. So, you know, I guess they're locked in for the start of the new season, which begins in a couple of days. And maybe at some point they'll tell us where we've actually got to tune into this. But hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.